So I've made it quite clear that I am running for president this year in 2024. If you haven't seen, there's a t-shirt about it. But many of my constituents are confused about some of my policies that I'm going to enact when you guys elect me as your next president. So here today I have my vice presidential candidate, Chili, and he's going to interview me on the policies that we're going to implement when you guys elect us as the president and vice president of these United States here in 2024. Don't forget, vote for me, Chad.
And Chili.
Because we're poor, just like you.
Well, thank you for sitting down and taking the time to do this, sir.
You're welcome. I've been looking forward to this for quite a while just to clear up some confusion with the people. And by the way, I don't know these questions that are coming my way. This isn't like Kamala Harris, you know. I haven't been fed these questions. These are off the cuff. That's the way we roll around here. Do you think Donald Trump has ever sat in a chair like this? Probably not. Do you think Kamala Harris has ever sat in a chair like that? Probably not. Have you ever sat in a chair like this? Probably so. These people have nothing in common with you. We're just common folk, man. I'm glad to be here.
Well, thank you, and I'm glad to be here as well, and thank you for representing our ticket to our constituents here on YouTube. Now, the purpose of this program is to inform the citizens of our collective positions on the issues of today. So we'll get right into it. The economy's bad. I paid $12 for a half dozen eggs the other day.
Good night.
What is your economic policy plan, our economic policy / plan, to bring down the price of common goods like eggs?
Well, if you're asking me how I'm going to balance the budget, I've got an answer for that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to tell all these countries that we supposedly owe money to, we're going to tell them to kick rocks, that we don't owe them jack squat. And if they don't agree with that, well, they can come and try to collect from us. Just go on and try that. That's what we're going to tell them. And you know what? If they want to settle the balance that they think they have with the United States of America, they can take that up with President Obama, President Bush, President Biden, President Trump. They can take that up with all those former presidents, and they can settle their balance that way. But we ain't paying them a daggone dime. We're gonna eliminate the national debt on day one by telling the rest of the world, you can suck it. We ain't paying you nothing. All right? It's as easy as that. I don't understand why it's so complex. It's as easy as that. How am I going to make the economy better for the people right here in the United States? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to quit giving away money to people who don't work. All right? We're going to go back to a biblical economy. If you work, you're going to eat. If you don't want to work, you ain't going to eat. Sorry about your luck, buddy. We're cutting out these welfares. We're cutting out these food stamps. We're cutting out this EBT. All that crap's going away, son. If you want to work, you can eat. All right? And that's gonna make people want to get up off their butt and work, because they're going to get hungry real quick. These millions of people that we've been propping up with all this free money, they're going to get hungry real quick. And guess what? They're going to get off their freaking butts, and they're going to get out here and find some work to do, and this place is going to be booming. Wait and see. It ain't going to take me long. That's step one.
Well, what about the people who can't work, the disabled?
Well, that's going to be, the church is going to have to take care of them. I told you we're going to do a biblical economy here. You know, the old widows. The church is going to take care of them. People who are retarded, people who, now look, even if you ain't got no legs, you can find something to do with your hands. If you ain't got no hands, you can find something to do with your legs, all right? So we're going to run a tight ship. But if you're genuinely, disabled and you just ain't no good for nothing, the church is going to take care of it. It's easy, man.
Now, there's been a lot of public uproar regarding the high taxes in certain states like California, New York, but really all across the country. Taxes are being increased under most administrations. What will you do with a tax plan moving forward?
Well, that's easy. We're going to zero federal tax. 0% federal tax, all right? I'm not taking a paycheck from y'all. If y'all elect me, I don't need your money, man. All right? Zero federal tax. Most of what we see as the federal government, it's going to be disbanded, totally dissolved. We're going to get down to a skeleton crew up here, all right? We ain't going to need much money at all. Matter of fact, I've got enough money to fund the federal government for the 4 years that I'm in office. So 0% federal tax. Your states can leverage taxes however they want to do it. That's up to your state. If you don't like the tax that you're paying in the state you live in, move to another state. Everything will fix itself. That's what's happening with taxes. I'm sick of taxes, man.
Well, another issue is thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of filthy Mexicans are crossing the border every week.
Yeah.
That's an issue. They're
Yeah.
taking over our cities, our towns. They're leaving their crap everywhere. They're committing crimes. They're not benefiting society. They're only taking away from it. What are you going to do about illegal immigration?
Well, first of all, the ones that are here, we're going to put them to work. All right? It's real easy. We've got all this public land here in the United States of America, which, by the way, when you guys elect me, the federal government is relinquishing ownership of any public land. And any public land that exists is going to belong to the state that it exists in. All right? So the federal government isn't going to own public land because that's not the job of the federal government. And what are we going to do with all these daggone illegal Mexicans? Well, we're going to round them up. Every state by state, you're going to round them up, and you're going to put these Mexicans to work one month out of the year. And they are going to make our public lands the most beautiful places on the face of the earth. We're going to have the cleanest, nicest, most groomed trails anywhere in the world. And they're going to really clean this place up for us 1 month out of the year. Now, for that, they can hang around and do whatever else they want to do the rest of the year unless they start committing crimes. We're going to be hard on crime. Now, that's another question, but we're going to be hard on crime. But we've got enough of them here to do that, so we don't need any more coming in, all right? So since our military ain't really doing much right now, I'm going to mobilize the military, at least what's left of the military after I, winnow it down to a skeleton crew. We're going to mobilize what's left of them, and we're going to send them to the border. And we're going to have sniper hides set up all along the border. And you come across that border, man, you're getting shot. And we ain't going to have to kill but just a good handful of them. And that stuff's going to slow down real quick. We don't need to build no wall. It's a lot cheaper to me to give a sniper a handful of bullets than it is for me to have to build a wall. It's as easy as that, man.
Well, speaking of crime and criminal reform and police reform, do you have actionable steps that you plan on taking to decrease the crime in America?
Yeah, we're hard on crime. As you know, we've discussed it in the past. We're hard on crime. We're really going to look at Old Testament law, and we're going to implement Old Testament law in terms of punishment for crimes, all right? So it's all there. It's all outlined. You steal a man's mule, you're going to have to pay him back 10 mules. If you can't pay him back, you're going to prison. That kind of stuff. It's going to be rough. And when you go to prison, when I'm in charge, you ain't going to have a television. You ain't going to have 3 square meals a day. No, you're going to be hungry, son. You're going to be hungry, and you're going to be miserable. You don't want to go to prison when I get in power. It's going to be rough. And it's going to be cheap, too, real cheap. Pretty cheap to let a bunch of criminals go stand around in a courtyard somewhere and starve to death. That don't really cost you nothing. Simple solutions, guys.
Speaking of simple solutions and a big issue that needs a solution, obesity is running rampant in America. The food supply is poisoning our citizens. People have become fat and lazy and sit around and watch sports all day. What is your plan to alleviate some of the health crises?
You know, I've heard all this crap that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is putting out about making America healthy again, and he's talking about all his legislation and all his, you know, all his lawyer talk, like that's going to do anything for these lazy fats. Give me a break, man. The guy is a clown. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a clown if he thinks he's going to make America healthy again by all these. You know what, man? This is the problem. These white-collar people, they don't understand how to fix any problems because they don't live in the real world, right? I live amongst the fats. You go down here to downtown Rome, I live amongst the fats. I went to the fair the other day, the county fair. And everybody at the county fair was so fat they didn't even look like human beings anymore. All right, they had this. There was no form or shape to them. That's the type of people I live amongst. And you mentioned sports. Well, that's one of the things we're going to do away with these fats. Is we are going to ban all televised professional sports. All right. If you are 18 years old or younger, you can participate in sports. But you can't spectate, but you can participate because sports are for kids. All right, we're doing away with all of this college football. We're doing away with professional football, basketball, baseball, NASCAR. We're doing away with all that crap. It's all banned. All right, sports is for kids, and that's it. And what that's going to do is all of these people whose whole life. I talked to a man the other day. I said, "What are you going to do today?" He said, "I'm going to watch football all day long." And guess what's unique about this fella? He's fat. What this is going to do is these fats that their whole life is watching these sports, well, they ain't got nothing to watch no more. And they're going to have to get up and find something to do, all right? And they're going to automatically lose weight. We're going to put them to work, too, by forced exercise programs mandated by the state. Again, the federal government isn't going to oversee this, but the states are going to, implement forced exercise programs if you're over a certain amount of weight. Because, look, being a fat don't just affect you. It affects the culture. It affects the productivity of society. It puts a drain on health care. Everybody talks about health care. Why is health care so screwed up? Because everybody's fat and sick, man. I mean, give me a break. This is easy to figure out. So yeah, it ain't just about you. You can't just be fat. See, in America, we've been living too long under the guise of this whole live and let live sense of freedom. Like that works. Like, hey, you just do whatever you want to do, and I'm going to do what I want to do, and as long as you don't impose your beliefs upon me, well, we're good then. Well, that don't work, man. That don't work. No. If somebody's acting up, if you got some new age hippie or some fat or some person that's coming in or some homosexual or somebody coming in with this crap, look, you got to tell them, no, buddy, that ain't going to work. You ain't going to be like that around here. Get out.
Another pervasive part of the culture today is the LGBTQIA plus movement. Entertainment has been, in many ways, taken over by this movement, and it's wiggled its way into commercials and kids' movies and television shows and radio. And what do you see needs to be done as far as the LGBTQIA plus culture and how it has impacted children? And
It's easy. It's easy. This isn't a complex issue, all right? It's real easy. Look, I'm going to be nice to the gays. I could be mean to them. I'm the one with all the power. I'm going to be nice to them. I'm going to give the gays a whole state to themselves, all right? California. California is going to belong to the gays, all right? Now, they can all gather up over there, and we ain't going to prop them up. But they can all gather up over there, they can do whatever they want to do. But you ain't going to be allowed to be gay nowhere else around here, all right? California's your state. I'm giving you a whole state. So all y'all homosexuals, look, that can be y'all's paradise. Y'all go over and do whatever you want to do. If you come out of there and come into another state, you're going to prison. Period. It's the easy solution, man. Give them a whole state. That's how nice I am. I'm nice enough to do that.
what will be your plan for if they travel to another state? How will they be identified as a part of the LGBTQIA plus movement?
Well, it's quite obvious who they are. You can tell by the way they talk, dress, act. Quite obvious who they are. If you catch a gay in your state when I'm in power, it's a citizen's arrest. Automatically, you bust them up, do what you need to do, throw them in the back of your car, take them down to your local police department, they'll ship them back to California. That's all there is to it. See, it ain't got to be complex, guys.
So, one thing I wanted to ask you about is you've talked a lot about states and the power for states, yet you're speaking, I want to clarify this issue, you're speaking as if you are going to force the states to carry out your agenda. I just wanted you to clarify your position on states' rights and how the federal government will interact with the states.
Yeah. Well, obviously, if you guys elect me as president, I have the power. So, yes, of course I'm gonna dictate to the states what they should be doing, right? Because I have the power. Now, the states aren't gonna have a problem with that because my policies and my solutions work. And immediately when the state begins to prosper by implementing the things that I'm talking about right here, I'm not even going to have to ask them anymore. My stuff works, man. All right? So that's the way that kind of works. Unfortunately, that's the way it has to work. There's no other way to do it. Somebody's got to be in charge, right? Somebody's got to be in charge. I did tell you the states can tax however they want to tax, right? And that's one thing they're free to do. Yeah.
Another one of the biggest.
Does that make sense?
It does make
Okay.
sense. Another one of the biggest issues for voters in today, especially female voters, is abortion. And many candidates have taken the position to just leave it up to the states, and you have taken the position to leave things up to states throughout this interview. Is that how you see abortion, or would you make a federal plan for abortion?
Well, I would make a state plan, and all the states would have to implement it.
Okay.
But it's not a federal plan,
Okay.
right? So I would come up with the same plan for all the states.
And that would be?
And it would be a state plan. And I told you we're going back to Old Testament law, right?
Right.
How do you repay murder in Old Testament law?
An eye for an eye.
With murder, right? Look, if you get caught killing a baby, sorry about your luck. You ain't gonna be around here much longer. You get caught, you're done.
All right. Before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you one final question, and I want to know what you believe the biggest issue, the biggest pressing matter in the country is today. and what you think should be done about it.
Well, the biggest issue to me is the scope of the federal government has just become so huge. All of these bureaucracies and all of it's just become so huge, and it's operating way outside the boundaries of its intended purpose. It's legitimately become a all-controlling, tyrannical organism. And so, again, as part of my policy, we're taking that down to the absolute minimum, skeleton crew. I mean, we ain't doing no Congresses, we ain't doing no senators, there ain't gonna be no FBI, CIA, there ain't gonna be none of that. No judges, it's just gonna be me and you and a couple other guys like, Cornbread and, in charge of these little things here and there. It's just gonna be a skeleton crew, man. So that's an easy fix. But I think it is our biggest problem that we face today as a country. I'm not worried about what all the other people in the world is doing. I don't give a crap. All right? Another thing we're going to do just to clean things up, we're taking over Canada and we're taking over Mexico. Flat out. All right? So y'all better be on board with that. Canada and Mexico, we're moving in. We're not going to just occupy. We're literally moving in, conquering them, and they will become the United States of America. And that's mainly just to insulate us from, an external attack. I want to be insulated north and south. Obviously, we've got water on our east and west, and we'll also be, taking all the minerals that they have, and all that'll all belong to us, right? I ain't worried about what other people in the world doing. You think we owe you money? We ain't paying you jack squat. You think you want some of this? Come on over here, son, because you talk about the Second Amendment. When y'all elect me, look, you're going to be able to own whatever gun, weapon, missile, tank. I don't give a crap. I want my people to be armed, all right? So, that's what I'm going to do. That's how we roll. We're freaking out here. We're poor as crap, just like you. We understand your problems. We sit in crappy Walmart lawn chairs out here in the yard with farm equipment. We're tired of being taxed to death. We're tired of all this stuff just like you. And I'm trying to get y'all to vote. And there's time. You got to vote, man. There's time to still support this campaign and this effort. You got to get you one of these shirts. We don't take donations. Get you a Chad and Chili shirt. Pass the word. And make sure you're there on whatever day people are supposed to vote on. And make sure you vote. Multiple times if you can.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Vice President. Enough said.